Good morning, squad. Welcome back to MadMizzy Sports Morning Show, the #1 spot for everything sports talk, sports news, sports debate in the morning. Welcome back to episode 44. Happy Hump Day. And what a big news Tuesday. Crazy news rundown this morning for MadMizzy Sports Morning Show. We got to start it off with the huge news in Brooklyn of Steve Nash, the head coach, being out, and possibly Ime Udoka replacing him as the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets. Then we got to shift gears into college football and Deion Sanders announcing that he will not be allowing his players to leave the hotel room while they are in Houston in light of the Takeoff killing. I got to speak on that. Rest in peace, Takeoff. And then we got to get into the NFL trades with the NFL trade deadline passing yesterday. Crazy day of trades in the NFL yesterday. Let's get right into it, gang gang. So let's start off with the news of Deion Sanders, the head coach of Jackson State University, the HBCU. Shout out to Game Day for going down to Jackson State University this past Saturday to shine a bigger light on what's going on down there in the HBCUs. They're blowing up right now. Deion Sanders is just giving so much energy and light and fun to the entire HBCU football scene right now. And of course, Deion Sanders is the star of HBCU right now, and he announced yesterday that he will not be allowing his players out while they're in Houston playing Texas Southern in light of the death of Takeoff while in Houston. My reaction to that is just I want to tip my cap to Deion Sanders for taking this leap and prioritizing the safety of his young athletes, his young student athletes, seeing what's going on in our culture right now, what's going on around our people. And you just don't want to put your young athletes in that circumstance to where they could be in a fight, where they could be fighting for their lives because they're out there and people see them. They see Shador Sanders on TV. They see him on Instagram. They might know who his dad is. You just don't want to put any light on that. And I'm glad that Deion Sanders is one of the first athletic head coaches to tie in the sports with the music and the culture, because it all goes hand in hand. Takeoff is a huge sports fan, huge football fan. So to just see that, to see what happened to Takeoff, and for Deion Sanders to react that way, I tip my cap to Deion because it's shining light on in different areas of what happened to him. You get what I'm saying? It's not a lot of people in these white cultures that know what happened to Takeoff, but they know now. Because when Deion come to town and those players are staying inside that locker room, and if you want to go see those players, you got to, well, not in that locker room, but inside that hotel, and if you want to see those players, you got to come to that hotel. That's a big sign right there. That's a huge sign. So tip my cap to Deion Sanders. Peace and paradise to Takeoff. Man, we got to do something, and we got to get behind everybody that's willing to change this. That's all. I'm not here for no conspiracy theories. I'm not here for none of that. I see what's going on a daily basis, and we got to stop this. We got to stop the senseless death. We got to stop the gun violence in the black community. We have to. It's on us. It's really on us. But let's move on. The huge news in Brooklyn with Steve Nash being fired and Ime Udoka possibly coming in to replace him as the head coach. What does that mean? To me, I'm a little scared. I ain't gonna lie. If the Nets get Ime Udoka, I say I'm a little scared and not all the way scared. If the Nets were a consistent team over the Nash's time and Nash was like the clear only reason and the main reason they were held back, I'll be like, oh, I am super, super scared. But that is not the case. The case is the Nets have been up and down, injuries, Kyrie being there, Kyrie not being there, Kyrie being the best player on the team, KD being the best player on the team, who's leading the team. Is so many ifs, ands, and buts. But I do feel as though Ime Udoka will come in and right that ship because he's not going to play that. He's going to be the leader of the team. And if people don't get on board, they'll be gone. I don't see people not getting on board though, because from what I'm hearing, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving were pushing for Ime Udoka to replace Steve Nash. I'm pretty sure they seen what Ime Udoka accomplished last year. He was the coach that swept them, as they were the only team to be swept in the playoffs last year. So looking into that, I'm not surprised that they're looking at Ime Udoka, and I'm not surprised at all that they moved on from Steve Nash after starting off, 2-5 this year, being absolute disappointments the first 3 years in Brooklyn. The first year wasn't his fault, didn't have any players there. Then the next year, you got to think about they fighting injuries the entire time. You got James Harden, Kyrie Irving, they both dealing with injuries. Kevin Durant's balling. Then last year, they get swept. So just the utter disappointment. You can see Steve Nash is probably a little bit over his head, and he couldn't handle those egos, and I think Ime Udoka can. It's going to be interesting to see how this pans out, because I want to see if Ime can come in and really get this team into the shape that we could see them getting into, and that's a top contender in the Eastern Conference. Because if Ime can't do that, then listen, it's a huge hit to Kevin Durant's legacy, Kyrie Irving's legacy. Not so much Ben Simmons, because I feel like Ben is Ben. But as far as those two superstars, their legacies will be hit negatively. But let's move on. In the NFL, we had huge trade news. I'm going to touch on the big ones that I seen yesterday and who's the big winner and who's the big loser from yesterday after the trade deadline. So let's jump right into it. Bills acquire Dean Marlowe from Atlanta. Micah Hyde being out the entire year. Then you got Brian Poyer, who's banged up this year. That's a huge pickup for the Bills to pick up safety Dean Marlowe to add a little more depth to that defensive backfield down there in Buffalo, especially gearing towards the playoffs where you're going to be facing top-tier quarterbacks, top-tier receivers. You're going to have to bolster up that backfield. Bills also acquired Nyheim Hines from Indy, swapping running backs. To me, I love this pick for the Buffalo Bills simply because Nyheim Hines is a versatile running back. He can run outside. He can catch the ball. He'll definitely be a versatile piece for Brian Daboll, but not Brian Daboll because he's in New York right now, but for the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, and everybody else, and it will open up things for Gabe Davis and then Stephon Diggs, or Nyheim Hines will just run crazy when you dump it off to him. So I like that pickup for them. The Miami Dolphins get Jeff Wilson from my San Francisco 49ers, and they get Bradley Chubb from the Denver Broncos. Huge pickups for the Miami Dolphins to bolster up that depth down there in the defensive line. Adding Bradley Chubb, that pass rush is just going to be ridiculous. They got the rookie out there. Then they already had Melvin Ingram, who was balling through the roof. So like them, just like the Buffalo Bills, they're gearing towards a playoff run, facing top AFC quarterbacks. You're going to have to get after that quarterback. So I love the pickup of Bradley Chubb. And then adding Jeff Wilson is just adding depth to the backfield, which if you're a Mike McDaniels, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay team, you're going to need depth in that backfield because who knows how long those running backs are going to last in that system. Moving on. The Steelers trade Chase Claypool to the Bears for a second-round pick. Whoa, the Bears gave up a lot for Chase. Like I said a few weeks ago, the Bears receiving core is the worst in the league, though. So to add Chase Claypool, who's kind of been an underachiever, but you also got to think about, I don't think he's been with a quarterback that could get him the ball. So hopefully this move can help both teams. It can help Justin Fields be a little bit better throwing down the field, and hopefully it could revive Chase Claypool's career and him being a downfield threat. I like that pickup for the Chicago Bears. And last but not least, you got the Lions trading tight end T.J. Hockenson to the Minnesota Vikings. Huge news. I like it. I like the pickup. You add, like I said, an extra piece with Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins. So for me, I like that pickup for the Minnesota Vikings. It's not one of my favorite ones. To me, the big winner from yesterday has to be the Miami Dolphins, adding Jeff Wilson, adding some depth to that running backfield, and then adding Bradley Chubb, adding depth to that defensive line. Is going to bode well for what's looking to be like a playoff run. And I got to say this, Tua Tagovailoa, I apologize. He's came out this year and he's proven that he is the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, especially this year, to possibly get them on a deep playoff run. Every time he's out there, they're balling, they're putting up numbers. Tyreek Hill has 1,000 yards receiving already. The two games that Tua Tagovailoa didn't play, they lost. They get Tua Tagovailoa back, they win. Just want to tip my cap to him, and he looked like so much like a baller yesterday. I mean, not yesterday, but last week or last Sunday against the Detroit Lions. I know that's the Detroit Lions, but hey, listen, you go up against the opponents you go up against, and I like what I seen from Tua Tagovailoa, running the ball, getting down, and just the accuracy down the field. Who's the big loser from yesterday? How can you not say that the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers are the big losers from yesterday with them not acquiring any outside help for Aaron Rodgers, knowing how inept that offense is right now and how void of explosion it is? I don't know who they could have gone out there and gotten, but I feel like they should have made some type of move to bolster up that receiver core in Green Bay. So to me, Green Bay is the big loser from yesterday. But that was just a few of the moves that happened yesterday. Let me know if y'all think it was another trade that's going to be more impactful than what I said with Bradley Chubb and Jeff Wilson going to the Miami Dolphins. Let me know what y'all think about Steve Nash being fired, Ime Udoka coming in to replace him, and then Deion Sanders keeping his players in while they're in Houston to face Texas Southern in light of the Takeoff killing that happened in Houston. Let me know what y'all think. Episode 44, MadMizzy Sports Morning Show. Like, comment, share, subscribe, listen, alert. MizzyWorld Entertainment. Gang.